Hello YouTube, this is William Bilgroom with Forza North Geology, and also I am now the owner and operator of Borealis Drone Services of Alaska, LLC. Came into this business because I had a chance to buy a DJI Phantom 4 Pro recently this summer, and decided to go ahead and take up commercial flying of it to go ahead and get some really great video and photos and be able to post them to YouTube. Go ahead and actually maybe help people out if they need photos, videos of their houses, and things like that. Today, what we're going to go ahead and look at is the Suntrana Creek drainage. This is an area of the state that I've been kind of interested in, love going out to for quite a while. It's a beautiful place. It has a lot of historical interest, a lot of geologic interest, and it is a kind of a good place to test out flying the drone, kind of play around with some of the features and settings because you're away from people. I say it's interesting historically and geologically because this kind of represents a great change in Alaska. Geologically, what you're looking at is a whole series of bedded sediments that range from silts, muds, clays, sands, with coals, as well as a large pack of gravels and conglomerate. The lower area that you'll look at there in the video that I'm about to show has a lot of features that are relatively common with stream channel morphology. You'll see a lot of like ripple formations, a lot of channels, cross bedding. You'll see areas of like still water where you have clays that have kind of formed up, and then you have these large thick beds of coal. The whole area itself of the sand, gravel, or the sand, silt, clay, mud, it's about 1,500 feet thick. It's a fairly thick unit that represents kind of this nice, slow, meandering stream environment, and allowing for a lot of coal to be, or a lot of vegetation to be deposited and eventually turn into these coal beds. They kind of range in history from about 23, 24 million years old to about 5 million years old, where you have another big change that is called the Nenana gravel beds, and these are massive, thick, just gravels themselves that are about 2,400 feet thick. And these kind of lie all over the area. What makes this kind of interesting geologically is that this area shows when the water stopped flowing south from the interior of Alaska down to Cook Inlet. About 18 million years ago, the Alaska Range pushed up enough, forced itself up enough that it actually changed the flow of the rivers. It changed the water from flowing south through what is today the Alaska Range down to Cook Inlet to having it flow north towards the Yukon River, and basically is a major contributor to what is now the modern Yukon River drainage. So as I said, this is a really big, important deal. When you get to more modern history, this also represents one of the big developments of Alaska, which is the coal mining industry for the state. Historically, it is known that coal's been recorded since the late 1700s by the Russians. It was not actually economically developed until the mid-1800s, around 1855, when the first commercial coal mining operations occurred down on the Kenai Peninsula, down around Homer area. And in that time frame, the coal itself was being used to basically power steamships to kind of help with the whaling and fur trapping operations. Later on, as you had more development in the interior, the gold rush came through, there was more of a need to kind of provide this access into the interior. to help move supplies back and forth, get supplies up to the gold mining camps, and kind of get other supplies out, like the gold and the furs that were being trapped in the interior. A lot of this occurred with the Matanuska Valley coal mines, but even then, you're still having to transport coal on the trains to get them up, and as well as you have the steamships that were plying the Yukon River that you had to get coal to. Right around 1919, the Alaska Railroad was able to reach up to Nenana. This basically allowed for the kind of first bit of development of the Nenana Valley coal fields to actually occur, and basically allowed the Nenana coals to be used on the steamships that were plying the Yukon River. But it wasn't until 1922 when they were able to get a bridge across what is Healy Creek in Denali Park now, that you actually had a connection between the town of Nenana to the north and Seward to the south. And this was the major connection that really spurred a lot of development, because you now had a connection between the ocean and the interior via train. They also, at that time, punched in a spur railroad that went up the Healy Creek drainage and allowed for the Suntrana mine to open. So the Suntrana mine opened in 1922. And by 1928, the Suntrana mine was producing half of the total coal amount that was being produced within the state of Alaska. In 1940, the Suntrana mine actually became the largest producer of coal within the state, and continued to produce large quantities of coal until it was forced to shut down by serious fires within the coal seams in the 1960s. So you can actually still see modern coal mining occurring to the north of these same Nenana coal fields with the Usabelli coal mine. With that being said, let's go ahead and get to the video. You can kind of look and for yourself and see what I'm talking about, with this being a absolutely beautiful place, both geologically and historically, as well as a place that is absolutely wonderful to get out to and go hiking, biking, just kind of see the countryside. you ever get out there yourself, kind of keep an eye out in the coal seams themselves. You may find some petrified wood. You may see this nice bright pink to reddish material that's really hard. That's a terracotta from the actual coal seams burning the clay layers above and below them. If you keep your eye out really closely, you may actually see fossils of leaf imprints and insects within all of this that are also really interesting and represent a time in Alaska when it is warmer climate than it is today. So if you like the video, please remember to go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe with the little bell icon. As well, feel free to visit my site, borealisdronesak.com. That is borealisdronesak.com. If you need any kind of services that's drone related, 2D ortho imagery, video, or photography, go ahead and get a hold of me at letsfly@borealisdronesak.com. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.